Doc on the Run. We help injured runners run.
What is your goal for healing your running injury? Now, let me ask you a question. Do you set goals when you're training for a race? What about when you're injured? I mean, let's face it, if you're training for a marathon, you probably have a really specific goal, right? You want to do a specific race on a specific day, you want to start at a specific time, and you want to end at a specific time. So then you have a whole bunch of goals that try to get you to that particular outcome. But what about when you get injured? I mean, I see runners all the time, and they seem to just completely get off track when this happens. Like, all the goals go out the window. They cancel their race, they don't have any goals for their next race, and many times they have no goals at all for their healing. So do you set goals for healing if you're injured? I mean, every goal you have is preceded by a specific process that's going to get you there. If you want to run a 4-hour marathon, you have to follow a specific process to get there. You can't just dream about it. If you want to heal faster than the average American, then you also have to have a process to get there. This isn't a thing that you can just sit around and wait for. You have to plan out your recovery process the same way that you would plan out your training program for your next race so that you can finish a 4-hour marathon, qualify for Boston, whatever it is. Now, the reason that it takes some runners much longer than necessary to heal is because they don't have any goals. You know, when you get injured, you basically just let down your guard. You don't really think or behave like an athlete in training anymore. And I see this all the time. I see athletes, they'll say, well, it doesn't really matter. So yeah, I'm having a couple extra beers. You know, I eat pizza. You know, I'm eating a little more chocolate because I'm bummed out and I don't feel really good about what's going on right now. Maybe have a little ice cream every night. Who knows? Maybe you just start watching more TV right before you go to bed, and all the blue light from screens, you know, can affect your sleep. But whatever it is in terms of this comfort activity, comfort food, or whatever it is that you're doing that is something that you're doing in a sense to soothe yourself, to get over the bummed out feeling you have, it could really be harming you and your capacity to heal. And you know for sure those are things that you would not be doing when you're actually in your peak training and you're trying to qualify for Boston or finish a race in a specific time or something like that. So these things may make you feel better in the short term, but you're obviously going to be paying for it long term if it takes you a lot longer to recover. And as a result, your running injury is going to take a lot longer to heal. Now that's a serious problem, because the longer it takes you to heal, the worse your running form gets. Your running form, the neuromuscular coordination, all of that degenerates very rapidly when you stop running, and you can't really afford to just sit around and wait for this degeneration to affect you globally. You have to really have 5 specific priorities when you're healing. And it's really simple. I mean, this is what I work through with athletes whenever I talk to them on a virtual doctor visit. The first thing, the most important, is you have to decrease the stress. That means decreasing the stress specifically to the injured part so that it can recover as fast as possible. If you keep hurting it, you keep injuring it, you keep stressing it, it's not going to get better. Then you have to sleep to allow regeneration of tissue. That's crucial. And you have to have nutrition to fuel the rebuilding process. And you have to have optimal hydration to get the nutrients in and the waste products out. And then you have to actively strengthen everything else in the system that can support that injured part, so that when you return to walking, running, working out, it's going to be protected and supported by stronger structures around it. Now, within each of those things, you should try to come up with, 4 or 5 specific strategies to try to stay focused on those strategies, right? So you come up with specific things in each of these 5 areas that you can do, small steps that you can actually measure and that you can keep track of, and that you can verify that you're doing on a daily basis so that you can know you're staying on track. There's an interesting thing in the Handbook of Positive Psychology on a discussion of goals, and they say there are basically 3 things you have to do to achieve a goal. And the first thing is it has to be very, very specific. So that means to me is like if the doctor tells you you should heal in 6 weeks, and you want to try to figure out, okay, well, what can I do specifically so I could heal in 4 or faster, whatever that is. But the next thing is that it should be difficult. All goals should be difficult, so this shouldn't be an easy thing for you to accomplish, and it's usually not the case when you're training for a race. And the other thing is that it should be trackable. You have to be able to get feedback, and you have to have commitment, and action is the ultimate proof of commitment. So you have to do something, not just sit around waiting to heal. You have to take action. You also have to believe that the goal is important. So if you understand how bad it actually is for you to take a long time to heal a running injury, you may start to believe that's important. You also have to believe that that goal is achievable. So if your coach, your doctor, whoever it is that you work with can explain to you why it is possible that you can heal faster than a normal person, then you'll start to believe it's achievable, and you'll start to look for those ways to actually achieve that goal of healing faster than a normal person. And if you don't believe it, well, you're not going to have any commitment because you don't think it's going to work. And it's pretty simple. I mean, I think it was Jim Rohn who actually said, if you want something bad enough, you'll always find a way. And if you don't want something bad enough, you'll always find an excuse. So it's really up to you. Nobody can make you heal. Your doctor, your physical therapist, your coach, no one can really make you heal other than you. You have the capacity, though, to really set specific goals that will keep you on track and get you back to racing, get you back to running, and keep you healthy. So just think about it the same way you would think about training for a race. You come up with this whole specific timeline that has you doing different things every single day along the course of that training. So if you think about your recovery the same way and you sit down and you come up with an actual goal for healing that injury and a recovery plan to achieve that goal, you will heal faster and it will get you back to running sooner.
Doc on the Run. We help injured runners run.